I promise you guys, this documentary is so important. It's so emotional because it does involve children, but it tells you the story about why and how handguns became banned in the UK. Because handguns were legal. At one point, it was legal to own a gun in the UK. This documentary tells us the story why guns are now illegal and the fight that people had to fight to get guns banned. So I watched on Channel 4 the Dunblane tapes. Make sure you guys follow me, as every single day I talk about interesting documentaries and news stories that nobody else is talking about. So in 1996, in a small village in Scotland called Dunblane, 16 kids and one teacher were shot, were unalived by a gunman. This man stormed into the school gym and started shooting. I believe over 100 bullets were shot. Children, unfortunately, were unalived. And this is so emotional because they play tapes of those kids and how they were, so it really humanizes them. They also talk to their parents, they also talk to the deputy head teachers, and they talk to the families of the kids that were involved in this. Parents spoke about the fact that on the day they turned up to, they were told, obviously, there was a school shooting. This is in Scotland, mind you. They turn up to the school and they are made to sit in a room for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. They just sat there in the hall, not knowing that their children had been unalived. They were told, some parents, after 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, what had happened to their children. Now, what's even more disturbing about this story is that they campaigned to get handguns banned. And in the year, there was a shooting, I think in the 1980s, so before this, called the Hungerford Massacre. And there was a crazy gunman who went into a quiet village and just started shooting at people. Many people died, and he was using a handgun and an assault rifle. Now, after that incident, they banned assault rifles, but handguns were still allowed. This is ridiculous because handguns arguably caused the most harm on that day, but they decided to ban assault rifles and not handguns. And the argument is because lots of people need handguns to use in shooting clubs. That is what cost these children their lives. The fact that people need to use handguns in shooting clubs for entertainment. So what happened? This was in 1996 when the shooting happened. This was the time when there was no internet, and parents, families, people campaigned. It was so crazy and so emotional to get handguns banned. They were met with a lot of distaste. There were MPs. There was a man who wrote a letter. I think he had lost his child. He wrote a letter to a Tory MP. That Tory MP said, no, we're not going to ban handguns because I have lots of shooting clubs in my constituency, and those shooting clubs have doctors, teachers, lawyers, middle class people. They need handguns. This is what is costing people's lives, and you're saying people need handguns to entertain themselves. You had MPs saying that, guns, you know what, the typical stuff, that guns are not bad, it's people that are bad. It was really, really disturbing, especially because we're talking about children here. We're talking about children being unalived in a mass shooting. Now, it was so emotional because these families, these people, they campaigned. They managed to get 705,000 signatures for a petition to ban handguns. This is before internet existed. These are handwritten petitions in boxes. They went to Parliament. They protested. They campaigned. They were met with distaste. The Conservative Party was in power at the time. And Tony Blair pledged to ban handguns. There was one woman so powerful saying, if you do not ban handguns, we're the ones who put you in power. We are going to vote you out. The Tory MPs, a lot of them were like, no, we're not going to ban handguns. We need them. They kept compromising. And they said, you know what? We're going to ban handguns, but there's going to be some exemptions. And there was a certain handgun they didn't want to ban, the .22, because apparently in the Olympics they need them. Then they kept saying that, okay, we'll introduce a new law where they're kept in secure places. These handguns can get into the wrong hands. Now, what happened is Tony Blair pledged to ban handguns and he was voted into power. And in 1997, Tony Blair, he put that the petition to Parliament. They debated it, and of course all the Labour, they won by a landslide, was on his sides, and they banned handguns in 1997. There were children who made songs to campaign about banning handguns, the children of Dunblane. The song reached, I think it was #1 in the charts. It was high, and politicians still had something to criticize about that. Tony Blair got into power, thank goodness. He banned handguns, and since then there has never, ever been a school shooting in the UK. Imagine if handguns were still around. This could have been easily avoided if after the Hungerford massacre, they weren't so hung up on the fact that people need guns to go to shooting clubs. Campaigners got hate mail because of this. These are people talking about the fact that their children have been unalived in a mass shooting, which was so avoidable. There was even a child who had to watch their classmates get unalived. These are 5, 6-year-olds. getting unalived. And these people got campaigned for this and still got criticism because people want to protect their right to bear arms. I'm so happy that they managed to campaign. And guys, I 100% recommend this documentary. I remember I learned about it when I was a kid, and the fact that Andy Murray went to this school as well, and but he just doesn't like to talk about it. And when he's playing tennis, Wimbledon tennis, I don't watch tennis, but he looks up to the sky, um, to pray for those kids or something like that. But it's absolutely insane.